Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Pisces for August 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my blog. I have tons of astrology and even some other blogs on there. If you would love to learn how to read charts, I can totally help you do that. I have different astrology education options on my website, as well as all kinds of other things. So check it out. So what's going on in this month of August? We've got Mercury retrograde and going direct, the end of Mars retrograde at the end of the month. We have a handful of what I'm calling minor irritants in the form of some squares. We have a solar new moon eclipse. We have two outer planet trines, including one of them turning into a grand trine. So we've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to talk about how some of these aspects are going to specifically affect Pisces, and then I'll go into some more details about the general transits. Okay, so I'm calling the theme of this month for Pisces, Wow, Pure Magic, because you have a full moon in your sign, first of all. So whenever we have a new moon or a full moon in our sign, that period of time, especially for a full moon, it serves as this sort of time of an accomplishment, of something coming full circle, a completion of something. And yes, sometimes full moons can bring drama, and we just, to alert you about that, we've got August 26th is that full moon. So in the days around the full moon, I usually feel it a couple of days even before the full moon. You could see some drama, you could see more emotions, and especially because it's a water sign, the emotions can run really high. You can also see water in places it's not supposed to be. Whenever we have full moons, especially in water signs, a lot of times we'll see this overabundance of water. So, you know, rain, anything, coastal things, flooding, things like that. Even just in your house, something leaking. Water where it's not supposed to be may be a theme of this time. So definitely, if you have things that you can do to prevent and protect, looking up insurance things, different kind of things like that, then definitely do that beforehand. The reason we talk about these things so early, why I post these for you a month early, is so that you can be prepared and you can be proactive. So, but it's very important, is the point, that you've got this full moon that's coming to fullness, completion, fruition, manifestation for something in your sign. So this will be powerful for all Pisces placements. It will have additional power and manifestation if you have planets around 3 degrees. So if you know your chart and you know what your degrees are, you may have more than just your sun or rising sign or moon in Pisces. You might have a bunch of planets in Pisces. So if any of those planets are near 3 degrees, and I'd say for most manifestation with a full moon, we would want it to be within an orb of 5 degrees. So from 0 degrees to 8 degrees of Pisces placements will be most affected by this, and those of you like closer to 3 degrees will be even more affected. So for your birthdays, that will be all of you in the first week of the sign. All right, so that's special extra manifestations. Also, since moon cycles, even though the moon cycle itself is 28 days, you only have this full moon in your sign usually once in a moon cycle. So there is some sort of story about the completion of a year's worth of work, or a year's worth of a story, or something like that. Could be related to a lunar year. Okay, so the next thing we have, which is why I'm saying wow, pure magic for Pisces, is we have 2 trines. One is a grand Earth trine with Saturn in Cap, Uranus in Taurus, and the Sun in Virgo, which I'll talk in more detail about that in the general transit. But we'll feel that for the latter part of the month and even beyond. So just magical potentials can come for anyone at any time. But this other trine, the one with Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, this is the one that I'm like, wow, for Pisces, because when outer planets, which are the ones further away from us, come together in the formation of a trine, which is the most positive, powerful, coherent aspect in astrology, we have this opportunity for magical outcomes and abundant blessings. So if you have placements that are locked into that configuration in the sky, so the configuration is happening in the sky, if you have something that ties that into your personal chart, it brings the blessings directly to you. So those of you, especially with placements near 15 degrees of Pisces, so that would be, let's see, 15 degrees. So we'll call it between 10 and 20 degrees. That would hit you most powerfully, and the closer you are to 15 degrees, the more powerful it would be. But that would be basically the first 10 days of March, birthdays, if you're watching for your sun sign, and then if you're watching for your rising sign, it would be between the 10 and 20 degrees. So if you have planets in those degrees, this aspect is going to beam all of this awesomeness to those placements that you have. So it's a really cool time to do things. And I know I have been saying, you know, with all these retrogrades, it's not the best time to launch or to do certain things. And we still have Venus retrograde to contend with before we are done with this whole flow. And that won't be till the end of, or really till like the beginning, middle of December. But because of this trine and because of the grand Earth trine, if you have something important, this end of August, beginning of September might be your time to do something. So just follow your flow and see what the signs are. And definitely it could be a really good time to say yes to something that comes to you. These retrogrades tend to favor you saying yes to things that come to you rather than you trying to push something out, okay? But you just have to stay in touch with your intuition. So if you've been watching my videos, at least for the last 3 months, or a few months, then you know that we had 3 eclipses in this summer or winter for y'all down under. I talked about the first eclipse, the first July eclipse, and where it would hit Pisces in my June report. So you can go back and listen to my June report and see how that eclipse might still be affecting you. Because remember, even though the eclipse is now in August, the July eclipses in August are now done. But we often have a month or even more after an eclipse, effects come from that eclipse. Okay, so check out my June report to see about that early July eclipse. Check out my July report for Pisces to see where that second eclipse in July hit for you specifically. Now, our job here in this report is to talk about this third eclipse, which is a solar eclipse, new moon, at 18 degrees of Leo. So where is this going to hit for Pisces? So if you have, well, really all placements, early, middle, and lates, it's going to hit for you in the 6th house. We'll talk about what that means. If you're at the very end of the sign, or if you're in the last few degrees for your rising sign or your moon sign, or you're at the end of the birthdays, you know, getting kind of close to Aries birthday, then you may have this hit in the 5th house. Okay, but you still have the potential to have it hit in the 6th house, even if some manifestations from the 5th house come in for you. So let's talk about the 6th house. The 6th house is where likely most of you are going to see this happen. So let's remember that a solar eclipse brings in new opportunities. It brings in open windows, open doors, fresh new things. Now, fresh new things in the middle of Mars and Mercury retrograde often turn out to be something fresh and new based on the past. So something that you did in the past, things you worked on in the past, an evolution of something from the past, people you know from the past, coming back to you with an opportunity now. So like I've talked about before, this is a time to be the spider, okay? So whenever I talk about the eclipses or the retrogrades, this is a time where you've woven your web and now you wait for the food to come to you. And if the food comes to you and you want to move forward with it and you have to say yes, try to lean that more towards the end of August if you can, because we want to try to steer away from the Mercury retrograde, because there will be more confusion or lack of communication or things that are missing until Mercury gets stronger. So we've got Mercury going direct around the 18th or 19th, depending on what time zone you're in. So the further you push towards that, the closer you get to the energies of these trines. And Mars will be direct as of the 26th, or between the 26th and 28th of August. So you can see like the power and the momentum is more towards the end of the month, even if the opportunities start to come in earlier. So all of this new stuff coming in for the 6th house. The 6th house has to do with health, your regimen, your diet, your lifestyle. It could have to do with your work, office, self-employment, your work environment. It can have to do with pets or working with animals. So you may get anything new involving these things that we just talked about, something notable in those arenas, something involving your structure at work, either what you're putting on yourself or other people are putting on you. There could be a notable incident. You could have a new boss, a new coworker. You could get new contracts, new clients, do something different with your work. anything having to do with these things. You could get information about health-related things that give you insights, and you could have radical healing as well. And some people could have a health crisis that helps to elucidate an issue that had been long-standing, that brings it out into the light to be dealt with. So all of these things are the areas where you all will be feeling this. Those of you at the very end, I told you might have some manifestation in the 5th house. The 5th house has to do with the actual sign of Leo, which is what this eclipse is in. So when I talk later in the general transit about the manifestations for the solar eclipse for everybody, that's also extra true for you late degree placements, because not only will the lunar eclipse, or I mean the solar eclipse, be in the sign of Leo, for you it will also be in the house of Leo. Okay, so for the rest of you, it'll be in the sign of Leo, but it'll be in the house of Virgo, the 6th house. So the 5th house has to do with creativity, children, conception. If you're wanting to have a baby, this is one of the best energies for getting news that you're pregnant, or having a breakthrough with something with your health, something that you need, or finances, something that you need to move forward. If you're not working on having a human baby, but you are very creative and you have creative projects, this could bring in a new chapter of an old project, or something involving your creativity. Those of you who are actors, models, doing anything with fashion or leadership, anything where a lot of people are looking at you, there's extra special energy around this for you. And that's for all people, because this is the sign of Leo, but it's especially true for those of you at the end of the Pisces placements. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little bit more detail about the things that we're working with this month. So the theme of the month for August 2018 for all signs is magical alignments and abundant blessings. And that is for a bunch of different reasons. We have so many things going on now culminating into these magical potentials. So we've got Mars retrograde and then going direct around between the 26th and 28th of August. We have Mercury retrograde, and that was starting July 26th, running through August 18th or 19th, depending on your time zone. We have the new moon solar eclipse in Leo. That's going to be on August 11th. We've got 2 outer planet trines, so there's magical things going on there. We have a full moon in Pisces at 3 degrees on August 26th. So these are a lot of things that are going on. So I want to just give you a little recap of how to use these energies well and hit a couple of dates to note. Also note that the information that I'm giving you, if you are better with written and looking at things visually, you can get a written version of what I'm describing, plus more details about the general transits and aspects for August and every month when you sign up for my free newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up at anniehelpsyou.com, you'll get a resend of all the newsletters I've sent for recent times, so you can catch up with what's going on. And then of course I always send these out a month early so you have them for your planning purposes, so you know the good days, the dicey days, and things like that to make your plans. So the eclipses and the retrogrades are both increasing the odds that things worked of, dreamed of, and planned on in the past will come to fruition now. This is a major time of continued manifestation. The retrogrades are not good for certain things, which you can check out on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and also check out on my YouTube channel. If you put in Annie Botticelli YouTube, I have lots of videos about Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, on the things to avoid during these transits. But there are a lot of things that these retrogrades are really amazing for. And one of them is to let things come to you, is to be the spider. It's like you've woven your web, and maybe you're also weaving a web for future catches in the future, but it's in the backdrop. But you're just letting things come in. You're relaxing, you're de-stressing the best way you can, you're not forcing things, you can be comfortably productive, but it's more about being the spider and letting your food come to you. Another theme of this month is taking a break from the norm in big and small ways. Even something as simple as driving down a different street to go to work builds new neuronal pathways in your brain. And not only is that good for the longevity of your mental capacities, it's also, when you light up new neuronal pathways in your brain, it activates new energy in your field to bring in new things to you, to break out of old, a matrix, an old matrix. So you can do things different in a small way, or you could do things different in a big way. There's an example that I want to give you about this artist that I know, who is very detailed in his painting, and but he was stuck. He wasn't getting paid for his creative work. And sometimes it would take him years to complete a painting. Of course, if you see the painting, it would be like, wow, you can't even believe that somebody could create that, especially with a small paintbrush. But he was stuck. And so during this cycle of the retrograde, he started watching Bob Ross. I don't know if you know Bob Ross, the epic Bob Ross with his epic hair, but you can look him up on YouTube. He basically teaches you how to paint landscapes, and you can watch him paint this amazing landscape picture in like 20 minutes. It's crazy. So he started watching Bob Ross and then started applying this very fast using of the artistic skills to get in and get out and finish things. And because of that, things unlocked for him, and he's had this whole new opportunity for being paid for his artistic work, when before he was stuck in the same old way. But that's how you can that's an example of how you can use these retrograde energies to just break from the norm, to open yourself up for more opportunities now from the eclipses and other things, and also in the future. So definitely check out my Mars retrograde blog and video. Definitely check out my Mercury retrograde video. But do know that this month we are carrying those energies, but both of those planets are going direct. So I gave you those dates earlier. If you're traveling now or ever, and you are interested in seeing what the astrology for your travel time is, things to look out for, things to be aware of, you can check out my website, Astrology Kiss Travel Bliss. And I do monthly travel astrology reports on there. Okay, so this long series of retrogrades that we've had for months could be wearing on you, and your patience could be running thin. This plus this notable amount of squares, so I'm calling it minor annoyances with these squares, but major blessings because of these, the solar eclipse and the outer planets coming together in beautiful configuration. But just know that you're going to have a little bit of an open boosting time. So even though the personal planets being retrograde are not going to end this long sequence until like December, at the end of August, beginning of September, you'll have a little bit of a break from the deep retrograde energies, okay? So if certain things have to bubble up, you know, effervescence, just bubbling up, you might notice some momentum and some things starting to pick up at that point. In general, issues with anger at present or past situations can come up strongly. So the more you can not act from a charged space, the more you can prevent yourself karmic repercussions. And also adopting the spiritual recognition of divine timing over your own timing is a major theme that the astrology of this month wants you to bring into your forefront. Everything is happening just as it's supposed to, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay, so I'm going to hit a couple of highlights of dates to watch. August 1st, we've got a square. Tension can create breakthroughs here, but any way you can break free from something, just try to do it with care and not with anger. August 6th, we have another square, the Sun and Jupiter. So you can feel very proud and capable with this transit, but depending on how you bring that feeling out to the world, maybe it won't be well received. So just kind of watch it, try to tend to not overdo on any level, including spending, food and drink and substances and things like that. On August 7th, we have Uranus going retrograde. That starts at 2 degrees of Taurus and it goes retrograde back to 28 degrees of Aries. So anybody who has placements there, it won't go direct until January 6, 2019. So this is where the planet of change and freedom switches to do deeper work on your inner space. Okay, so either to catch up with changes that have already occurred in the outer realms or to prepare you for future changes that are coming in the outer realms. Also on August 7th, we have a beautiful trine with Venus and Mars. So this is a great little boost here in the midst of some of the annoying aspects. We've got on August 8th, Venus opposing Chiron. So it's very likely to bring up some challenges involving love and money, and feeling like your self-esteem is off or feeling like a victim is more likely at this time. But of course, it always gives us opportunities to have breakthroughs as well. August 8th, we have the Sun conjunct Mercury in Leo, so you can have your creativity ignited. It can fuel romance, it can increase fun, it can also increase ego flares and battles, so just tread lightly on charged topics. August 9th, we've got we have Venus square Saturn. I don't know where July just came from. Anyway, so Venus square Saturn. Whenever Venus, the planet of love and beauty and money, comes together with Saturn, just sort of this hard-nosed, you know, challenge bringer, especially in that type of configuration. It can bring money or relationship issues. So, you know, the need for you to deal with them is going to be higher, but your inclination to avoid them is also going to be high. We've got another square on August 10th between the 10th and the 11th of Mercury and Jupiter. Whenever we have squares with Jupiter, Jupiter is a benevolent outer planet. So even the challenging aspects with Jupiter can be softer than squares with other planets. So it can bring a lot of optimism, but again, with that, like a tendency to overdo, like I have so much energy, I don't know what to do with myself, and then now I just burn myself out or something like that. So just kind of be aware of what you're committing to. August 11th, we've got a solar eclipse, new moon at almost 19 degrees of Leo. So this is time to make your 10 new moon wishes on the topics of Leo. So anything with children, creativity, romance, fun, hobbies, addictions, leadership, acting, anything else that puts all eyes on you. So new opportunities and major new chapters can come in from that eclipse. August 19th, we have this official trine between Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. So again, this started at the end of December. There's some story that started at the end of 2017. It got strong again at the end of May, beginning of June. And then this is the final connection. So if you have any, especially water placements close to 15 degrees, but really anything that would aspect the 15 degrees there is going to more closely affect you. And you'll feel that trine for quite a while, you know, a while before the 19th and a while after the 19th. August 25th, we have a grand Earth trine with the Sun in Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, and Uranus in Taurus, and those are at 2 degrees. So if you have any planets at 2 degrees, especially, you know, something that causes an astrological aspect with Earth in those signs, there's going to be more effects for you. August 14th through September 13th, we will very likely feel this beautiful effect. So launches and important things can be great. Even though we're kind of still doing a lot of retrograde energy, if you have to push in something at the end of August, beginning of September, you can ride the coattails of this trine while getting, you know, Mars will be direct as of between the 26th and 28th. Mercury is already direct, so you'll have more momentum here and you might see some really beautiful things happen. August 27th, Mars is direct at 28 degrees of Capricorn. That post-shadow period stretches until October 10th, so it won't regain full oomph until then. But momentum and drive and ambition will definitely, for those of you where it was waning, it will very likely start to return, sometimes to the day. It'll be a little sleepy, but you'll feel something different, like something's waking up. So on August 27th or 28th, depending on your time zone, Mercury will square Jupiter again. We had that square earlier that I mentioned, but because Mercury was in retrograde, then it did it in retrograde, then when it went direct, it did it again. So just be careful of overcommitting. And if you can promise or commit to only a fraction of what you feel like you can do, then you'll be happier, because as time moves on from this moment, your optimism or the reality may set in. And if you commit to something from that high space, then it's going to be hard for you to pull it through. Okay, so these are the things that are most on my mind for the transits in August. Definitely, if you'd love to learn astrology, check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, for my astrology education options. If you'd like to be a coach as your profession, I would love to help you, teaching you my 6-step formula to getting results. I'm really good at setting and reaching goals, and I'd love to teach people how to do that for themselves and for other people too. If you'd like to bring your business online and have geographical freedom, you may be interested in my Creating Successful Online Business course, which you can also see at anniehelpsyou.com. Remember that if you would like a written horoscope from me, often with different things than I talk about in the video, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. At cozybysweetstarlight.com, you will see blogs featured from people, up-and-coming bloggers, also from myself, and my horoscopes are featured there. But there are a lot of different lifestyle blogs there that I think you will enjoy. So check that out. Go to my husband's website, IamHelios, IamHelios.com, to learn tarot. Also, he does astrology readings, tarot readings, and other cool things you can see on his site. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.